Yo, what up, guys? So we'll be doing a deep dive on BTC, a deep study on BTC. I've actually taken my time to do this. Yeah, this is literally my longest duration, the longest duration I would have to wait before taking any trade. I guess that's what maturation does. You know, it teaches you patience for you to hold on when things are not clear to you. And that's really what I've been doing for some days now. Okay, so I will expand this for us to look at BTC charts collectively. Okay, so some of you might argue that these lines are not well drawn. These lines, you can see I skipped some. They were all intentionally done. I did everything here intentionally because I factored in previous price action, not really what is happening now. I factored in previous price action. For instance, this very line you can see here, it started from here. You can see where we had this week off. Okay, this week off that dropped to a low of what price again? I dropped to a low of 25K some time ago. Yeah, 25K some time ago. So I factored it in, and also where it all began, where BTC kind of shot up from, initially it served as a resistance, but all of a sudden it became a support. So I factored it in. So this and this, because the lines had to meet each other, I alluded them as being accurate. I judged them as being accurate. So this very one is validated. The same thing also applies to the second line here. You can see where it all began. We had this price action where at a time this line was serving as a resistance. All of a sudden, the price action was short, so it actually automatically became a support. So we have this series of lines, series of meetings here, plus this one here, which you can actually argue that they didn't really touch each other, but it's okay, it's still okay, it can still go. And then we have these as well. Okay, so these two lines have been validated. Actually brought them out to so that I could buttress what I wanted to say. Now these two lines, this one represents the high of the 2017 bull run, of which BTC later came back to test it. You see BTC, that at the time BTC dropped lower than 20K. So in other words, it kind of went lower than the 2017 high, of 20K plus. Okay, so we factored it in. Also, this place was where the move all began in. When this current bull run started, this was where it all began. That's around 17K thereabouts. Okay, so I also factored it in. So these lines are very important. These 2 points are very, very important. Now, remember that in the last video we talked about the fact that BTC was forming a series of lower highs, and it's still playing out. For instance, here the highest BTC went was 21,705 before it got rejected. And this same thing happened here. It went to a high of 22,790 and went up again to 22,960. So in other words, this line is still validated because after this drop, none of the moves again had been able to close above it. Now, I am also pondering, I'm also considering that since this was the peak of this, since this was the highest this one could go, 22,960, and it hasn't gone higher than that, and this was the highest this could go, 21,705, and it hasn't gone higher than that again. And what are the chances that this 21,449 that we've seen in BTC, what are the chances that it is actually the highest it could go? You can see what is happening now, that BTC is actually dropping. So I had to mark out this very level, this resistance, and also this support, okay, to see how it's playing out. You can see that from my time check, I think a particular time frame, okay, 1 hour just closed now. Okay, 1 hour just opened, closed, and another 1 hour just began because it's actually 5 o'clock from my time check. And you can see where this price action is happening. It's actually happening below this very support. So what are the chances that this will move up again? Okay, I don't want to put any ideas into your mind. I don't want to put any thought or any conclusion into your mind. I just want to put some, some thoughts, okay, into your mind to also look at things from the both extremes, look at things from all extremes. So what if we this thing has already peaked out here? Like what if this 21,449 was the top? Now, what if the BTC doesn't go up again and from here it starts coming down? Probably, yeah, of course, it will need to touch 20,061. And in the event that this 20,061 doesn't hold, what is the next support we should be having? The next support is 17, this very like that 17,565. Okay, so these are probabilities. Okay, these are probabilities, not certainties. These are things you also need to consider. That's why I was emphatic on telling us that we should be very, very careful of taking any long trade until we see BTC close above 21.5, and we couldn't get that. The highest it got to was 21,449, which is what this line is representing, 21,449, which happened a couple of hours ago, less than 24 hours ago, so to say. And we've not seen 21.5. We've not seen BTC close 21.5. And from my knowledge of breakouts, from my understanding of how breakouts work, for a breakout to be validated, it needs to take out at least, okay, minimum of 2 previous lower highs. If a breakout is to occur now, if BTC is to break out now, it doesn't just need to take out 21,449. It also needs to take out 21,705. That's the only time you can say, yeah, this breakout is valid. Okay, let me look for some let me look for a long entry, or let me look for some long entries. But I'm not, no, nothing is cast in stone. I'm not saying this thing must happen, but I'm just giving us some probabilities. And what I would be doing, like I said, this is the longest I would have to wait before taking any trade, because I've always been a day trader. But then because of the precariousness of the market, I'm teaching myself patience. I'm learning just to sit calm when things are not clear to me until the conditions are spelled out, until my conditions are met. That's the only time I can take any trade. You can see what is happening here. Okay. 1 hour is actually a long time for anything to happen. So we wouldn't really be fast to conclude that, okay, this thing is going down or it's going up. But we can actually see the clearer picture by going into the lower time frames. Okay, we could look. This is 4 hour, so to say. So we could look at 1 hour to see what 1 hour is doing. We could also look at 15 minutes to see what 15 minutes is doing. That would give us the right perspective on what to do in the market. Okay, so guys, that's just what I want to share with us. Let's just be on the lookout to see how it all pans out. Don't be in a haste to do anything. Don't be in a hurry. Just keep your money. I know that just take time, but the highest it will take is just time. But in the next couple of days, everything will be crystal clear to us. Then we'll know the direction to pivot our decision or our actions. Thank you so much, Mr. Solution.